Hello everyone, welcome to another live video. In this one, a different message from what I normally talk about. In this one, we're going to be talking about how most women are nothing like what they make you believe. And of course, this isn't about all women. And so some women will not relate to this at all. Although those women may know other women like this. And yeah, a lot of men are struggling when it comes to dating with women today. And so I thought we would unpack this and discuss together what is really going on. Of course, you know, if you're not meeting the types of women that you want to, you do need to look at yourself first. Be accountable for yourself and just ask yourself honestly, who are you? Do you take care of your own body, your own mind? Is your mental health, physical health important to you? Are you financially stable? Are you on your purpose? Do you study, improve, educate yourself? And do you have a good personality, a good vibe, good energy? Or are you bitter and blaming women? So of course, you've got to look at yourself first. And you know, you've got to be taking good care of yourself. And like as an example for me, I often get manicures, pedicures, I go to the gym. And just overall, just taking good care of myself. And that's really what you've got to do, you know. If you want to have a better chance at dating good women, you need to be taking good care of yourself first. You need to make sure that you are doing what is right for you, looking after yourself in every possible way that you can. So yeah, you know, you've got to ask yourself, who are you? Are you taking good care of your body, your mind? Are you eating right? Are you staying well groomed, financially stable, on your purpose? Are you constantly educating yourself, improving, studying? Do you have a good personality, a good vibe? Or are you being bitter and blaming women? So you've got to examine these things in yourself first before anything else, and just improve what you can. You know, it's not about being perfect, but just make the improvements where you can. And of course, as I'm already aware, I know many of you already have made these improvements. And despite that, you're still not having the success with women that you want. And there are reasons for that, which we're going to be getting into now. Because the truth is that, yeah, you know, most women, they're not anything like how they try to make you believe. They're actually very different. And this is it, you know. Many of you wonder, why can't you meet and why don't you get on well with these certain women that you like and that you want? Because maybe you can see that they're posting on social media of how maybe they're going to the gym, they like boxing, they're at the beach, they're hiking. And maybe that's something that you're into. So naturally, you know, that could be very confusing for you, because it's like, well, if we like the same things, if we share the same interests, then why aren't we doing these things together? Because for you, you know, you seeing someone who likes the same things that you do, you naturally feel drawn to them. So then you wonder, why don't they feel drawn to you in that same way? And of course, you know, the most obvious thing about it is that they don't actually share your interests. They don't really like the gym. They don't really like boxing or going to the beach, hiking. Even though they may be taking pictures in those places and posted it on social media, and you may be seeing that, but they don't actually like it. And this is the case with a lot of women. They're really not that interested in it at all. It's for attention, not passion. They're not really passionate about it like you are. And so what do you think would happen, you know, if they went out on a date with you and you're very into the gym, you know everything about it. You like going to the beach, you like just laying down on the sand and relaxing. What do you think is going to happen if they go on a date with you and, you know, you're all about it, you're very into it, you know a lot about it, but really they don't. And for them, it's just about attention, validation. Of course, your authenticity is going to expose their fraudulence. It's going to expose everything that they're pretending to be. And this is the case for everything. And, you know, a lot of women, they just want your attention. They will tell you that they're very interested in a certain TV series, maybe on Netflix, but you can't ever get them to meet up with you and actually sit down and let's watch it together. Because it would bore them. They're not really interested in it. You can't even ask them any questions about it. They can't give you any answers. They can't expand on it. There's just no passion behind it. Maybe the same case with music. They might claim that they like similar artists, and yet they don't have so much interest in you. And that's just it. It's because it's for attention, not passion. And that's why they don't really feel the need to be connected to you. And instead, they're just using it to get attention from you and to leave you chasing after something that doesn't even exist. That they're even not. They're not even that at all. I apologize for the noise coming from the room above. This goes on pretty much all day, but I try my best to not get too distracted by it. But yeah, many women are narcissistic. They have this version of themselves that they are pretending to be, but that's not really who they are. There's something else completely. And for them to be around you, it would be very triggering. It would trigger them to reflect on how they're not really that. And so that's why they may avoid you. And yet you may see them with other people who seem to be into the same things that you're into. They may be hiking, going to the beach together. And yet it's because those people are also a part of the image that they're wanting to present to people. It's all superficial. It's not actually about sitting down and enjoying the activity, being immersed in it, connected with people. It's about what people see. And so you being involved in it, it doesn't make it any more interesting. If anything, it just makes it boring. Because then there has to be depth, there has to be substance to it. And that's boring for them. They just want to pretend like they have something, like they know about it. They don't actually want to go through the process of becoming it. It's all just about what they want to display to people. So this is how this is going to happen. Where even though it may seem as though you share the exact same interest, the exact same passions, still there's no possibility in you dating, because you're already about it, you're already passionate about it. That's why you're the one who's pushing for a date, a meetup. And they're the ones who are just pushing back on you. They're trying to move away from it. So this is definitely a huge thing that many of you may experience with women today. Is that they are pretending to be something they're not. They're pretending to like something when really they're not really that interested in it. It's not really a big deal to them. It's not something that they're really passionate about. It's just more about the image. And, you know, we see this a lot online where it's like, there's a lot of women these days and they might go to a beach and it's really just to take a picture. The first thing they do when they get there is take a picture, maybe sit down for 5 minutes and then they go. And that's really all that it's for. And yet you look at it and you think, oh, you know, they went to the beach, they went for a hike. They must have had a really good day out. But it's not like that at all. It's all a performance. And I know this myself because I've been involved with women, narcissistic women, and they do this exact same thing. It's like they want to drag me out somewhere and it's all just to take pictures and pretend like we're having a good time. Until eventually they just got bored of it. They just lost interest in me because I wasn't going along with the fantasy. And I was pushing for a connection, to go deeper into things, and they're not interested in that at all. They want to keep things surface level, superficial. So this is why, you know, you may find some women are pushing you away, even though it seems like you have so much in common, so many shared interests. This is how that happens. Another thing is childhood trauma and father wounds. Many women have had broken or absent relationships with their father. And so now as adults, they are drawn to men who mirror their trauma, not support or encourage them. So you're trying to be all passionate about these women, you're trying to encourage them, support them, love them, and they're pushing you away. They're not interested in that. They want someone who's going to mirror back to them their trauma so that they can chase after that. And this is why they may get involved with other men who are more narcissistic. Because healthy love for them feels unfamiliar and unsafe. It doesn't feel good for them. So you're not being rejected because you're bad or because you're not good enough, but in fact because you're too good. It's overpowering, overwhelming them. It's just not what they're able to receive because they can't receive what they've never known. It doesn't mean anything to them. And also, let's not forget, you know, many women these days are suffering with anxiety, depression, BPD, narcissism, or past trauma. And so for them, love is really like an emotional roller coaster. It has constant ups and downs, highs and lows. It's all over the place, dysfunctional. That's what feels normal to them. based on the trauma from their childhood, from their past. So whenever anything is peaceful, when it's natural, that actually feels very boring for them. That it may even be scary, because then it makes them feel out of control, unstable. So they will push away stability. They will push away a man who is peaceful, grounded. And it's because it doesn't match their programming from their childhoods, from the abuse that they have experienced. So they're looking for something that is more dark, more edgy, more broken. That's what they're chasing after. Because that's just what feels more familiar to them. And another thing, you've got to remember, many women these days, they're all over social media, they're all on dating apps, and they may have hundreds or even thousands of men in their DMs. There may be thousands of men who are messaging them. And so after a certain amount of time, they become desensitized. They become numb to connection. And that leaves them feeling depleted, depressed even. So then they start craving stimulation, intensity. They need a stronger drug to give them a high. And so that's how many of them then end up getting involved with creepy, toxic men, or even men who are nothing like them, men who are very different, because that gives them the intensity. And they're numb to connection from regular men. So they're overstimulated, and they're just seeking another hit of dopamine. While real love, real effort, it just doesn't do anything for them anymore. You may wonder as well, when you're being so encouraging to these women, when you're trying to love and support them, why do they push you away? And a lot of times it is because you're trying to connect to them emotionally, and it's triggering their shame because it's making them feel exposed. They're disconnected from themselves. And by you being connected to yourself and trying to connect to them, that's what exposes them and triggers their shame. It makes them feel inadequate. And this is why, even if you get onto a date with them, they're trying to disconnect you from you. They want you to dissociate. They want you to not know who you are. That's the only way they can feel comfortable. Because if you're connected to yourself, they have to connect to themselves. And then they feel inadequate, exposed. And this is why, even when you go on a date with them, it doesn't last long, or there's no follow-up date, and then it's just all over. And it's because of your emotional depth, it feels uncomfortable for them. So they just run away, or they mock you, because they do not want to be connected to you. They do not want to connect to themselves. So instead, they chase after men who are similar to them, who are also disconnected from themselves. Because then they're able to dissociate. They're able to be an object for another man. And that's typically a man who is also viewing himself as an object. And that feels more comfortable for them, because they don't want to go within. They don't want to connect to themselves. And so when you're trying to bring love, authenticity, connection, they're just going to push that away. And it's because you're reminding them of what they're avoiding within themselves. If this video is making sense to you so far, please give it a thumbs up. Let's get it out there so that other men who are having difficulty with these women will see it. Some of you may never have thought this way, but the reality is that many women may actually be intimidated by you because you're making advances, you're approaching them, and just by your presence, by your words, it says to them, I see you. You see them. And they may be trying to hide behind a persona, a false image. And think about it, they're pretending to be something. Many of these women are fraudulent. They're putting on an act. And you're trying to get closer. They don't want you to see that they're wearing a mask. They don't want you to see what they're hiding. And so the closer you get to them, the more afraid they become. Because the last thing they want is for you to take that mask off, to see what's underneath, to see how afraid they really are. And that's how the closer you get to them, the more they just run away. And it's because they want to maintain the persona. They don't want to be who they really are underneath. And yet that may be who you want to see. You want to see the vulnerable person, the authenticity. Even if they are going through something, even if there is trauma, at least then there would be connection. But that's just it, they're not ready to go there. It's too uncomfortable for them. And instead they feel more comfortable being with someone who's going to support the persona. Someone who's not even going to realize that there is a persona there. And that just may not be many of you, because you see through it. You realize what you're really dealing with. So this is why they will reject you, because they fear that if you really got to know them, you wouldn't stay, you wouldn't accept them, you wouldn't try to help them. So they look at it like, what's the point? They may as well just reject you before you expose them, before they have to go through that pain. Another one, this is a big one, and something that many of you probably never even thought of. Maybe you had an interest in a girl who had blonde hair, blue eyes, and you're wondering, why wasn't she interested in you? Maybe you're more darker. Maybe you've got darker skin, darker hair. And you wonder, why is she more interested in men who have blonde hair and blue eyes? And a lot of this really comes down to narcissism. They need a mirror. They need someone who has a similar skin tone, similar hair, eye color, a similar race, ethnicity, the same age, the same body type. They're attracted to people who look like them. Maybe people with the same accent, people who are just the same. And it could even go so far as these women may even prefer feminine men, not masculine men. They want men who are feminine just like them, or it could be they want to be masculine. So they want someone who they can dominate and control. And this is how it is a lot of times. You know, if you look around at the world, many women are narcissistic in that way. They do want someone who looks very similar to them. They do want a mirror. They want someone with the same skin color, the same hair, eye color, ethnicity, age, everything. The same body type. And so that could be a big part of it for many of you. And yet, as for you, you know, you may be, you may not be narcissistic, so it's more, you're looking for something different. You don't need a mirror to reflect back to you. And that's what they're looking for. So that's how they don't align with you. And let's not forget, you know, culture. Many women have been taught that love is a weakness. They're constantly comparing themselves. They're playing roles to survive socially. And many women are on TikTok every day, Instagram. And it affects their psychology. They're also seeking the girl group validation from other women. So many of them are spiritually disconnected. They have no inner compass. They have no direction. They're just following trends. They're being brainwashed. And, you know, they could be brainwashed by so many things in the media that's being promoted, that's telling them what's desirable. And they just don't want to settle for anything less because they want to feel validated. Another thing is hypergamy. Many women are hypergamous. They're never satisfied. They're always looking to trade up for something else. They always think the grass is greener on the other side. So even if you're better than the last guy, in their minds, there's always someone better than you. I apologize for the noise. I know it's quite distracting. But this is something that goes on all day. Someone literally just sits up there constantly dropping objects all the time. It's crazy. But I try not to get too distracted and just focus on the content as much as I can. Yeah, you know, even if you're better than the last guy, they're looking past you and they always think the grass is greener on the other side. So they're always looking for something better. And there's nothing you can really do for them, you know. They're so focused on appearance more than anything else. The image. And they're just looking for better so they can feel validated. They can feel good enough. It's not about what you do. It's not about what you say. That's invisible to them. Because they have this trauma. It's just all about the image. And this is how many of them can be emotionally cold, abusive towards you. Just treating you with just absolute contempt. And that's their narcissism, their grandiosity, their entitlement. And yet you may be looking at them thinking that they are all that themselves. Many of them, they live in a fantasy. Some of them have sociopathic traits. Others are just hoes. They're not looking for connection. They're looking for excitement because they may be involved with so many different men who are messaging them They feel depleted, they're seeking stimulation, intensity. So they're just looking for adrenaline, a thrill, excitement. They're not thinking about connection. And so when you come with connection, it's boring to them. They may be terrified of it, from having to go within. Because being real and vulnerable exposes their emptiness. It's far too much for them. And this is why they then lash out or they ghost you. But what it all comes down to is, if you are a man who has worked on himself mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, just in every possible way, that you still can't find a woman for you, it's because most of them, they're just not ready for what you have to offer. You are the mirror that they can't face, because you offer growth, truth, depth. And of course, that's going to be terrifying for them when they have built a life avoiding all of that. But of course, it can make you wonder, when there's so many women in this world, this world is full of women, around 4 billion women in total, and yet connection is so rare, because many of them are disconnected from their feminine energy, their intuition and their soul. And it's not your job to help them along that journey. That's something that they have to do. All you can do is just stay grounded in reality, keep healing, building, refining. You can't just go chasing after dysfunction. It has to filter itself out. And you just have to become the version of you that attracts real connection, not noise. So if you're being overlooked, it's not because you're not good enough. It's just because you're too real for the game that they're playing. But yeah, you got to think about it like this, right? It may seem so confusing for you, when you look around and you see so many women, like maybe just in your town, in your city, you may be thinking, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of women here. And it's like, why can't you find one for you, one who you can date? And it could be that you're just such a high caliber of a man who's really worked on yourself so much that there is barely anyone at that level. That could be a possibility for some of you. If you look around, so many women, they are broken, damaged, confused, addicted to alcohol, drugs, going to clubs, going out with their friends, just posting it up on Instagram. That's what most women are doing these days. They're not focused on their purpose. They're not doing what you do. And that's how you've got to think about it is, okay, yes, there may be 100,000 women in my city. But now let's filter out all of the ones who may have severe childhood trauma, like things they may have gone through. I know pretty much every woman that I've met, they told me that in their childhood, they were abused in some sort of way. Many of them were sexually abused at a very young age, and often by family members. So you've got to think they're going through all of these things, and of course that affects them. And when they go out into the world, it often attracts to them other sexual predators who may sexually harass them in public. So they're experiencing all of these things. And then all of these guys are messaging them. They become overstimulated, desensitized. They start seeking intensity, the wrong guys. And then there's also their education level. What interests do they have? There's all of these things going on. And when you factor all of this together, it really just, it weeds out over 99% of women. Over 99% of them are not for you. And yeah, it may seem like they're for you. You may be looking at certain women and thinking, but we're so similar. We have the similar interests. And maybe you do even look similar. Maybe you do have similar things going on, or so you think, because maybe they're not about that for real. Maybe they're just pretending. And that's how you've got to see it. Because honestly, you know, if you're so similar, if you really have similar interests, similar personality, you like doing similar things, you have similar dreams, goals, ambitions, typically you're going to get on very well if they're really serious about it. Because they're going to be filtering out everything else and focusing on you. So this is how you know that it's so similar after all. And what you really need to do is take a look at the friends on their social media. Look at the people they spend time with. That's who they're similar to. That's where they belong. And typically what you're going to find is many of these women, they're not with guys like you. They're with guys who have issues, who have trauma of their own, anger problems, narcissism, and guys who have no real purpose in life, maybe never even went to college. That's who they feel comfortable with. That's what they want. And of course, you know, it should be no surprise that when you look at many women in life later on, where do they end up? There's so many single mothers in this world, multiple children from multiple fathers, and they just never really become anything. This is how it is. Apologize for the noise again. It follows me when I go into a different room. They know where I am in the room. So I can't really get away with it. But despite that, you know, I managed to maintain my sanity, even though it follows me around wherever I go. But yeah, this is really what it comes down to, you know. Not so similar after all. And what they are presenting to you, they are mirroring you. They are reflecting back to you who you are and what you like. But they're not really that. Because honestly, if they were that, and you like that, what's the problem? So you see, they're just not that. Because if they were, then you would be together, you would be dating. So they're not really interested in it, they're not really passionate about it. It's all fake. It's all fake. I mean, because typically I can tell you this, you know, I've got a lifetime of experience in relationships. I have talked to hundreds of thousands of women throughout my life. No exaggeration. I've dated hundreds of women, and some of them long-term as well. And I can tell you, you know what really brings people together is a shared interest. It is. It's people who like similar things. I mean, you know, if you go out anywhere to like a cafe or something, And, you start talking to someone and maybe they're going somewhere and it's something you're interested in too. You make a new friend that easily. Because that's really it. It's usually built on shared interests, on liking similar things that you can do together. And also with connection. I mean, typically a healthy person, just as what you're looking for. You want someone who likes you, who's interested in you. That's healthy. They don't want that. These women that you like are moving away from you when you're very interested in them, you're very passionate about them, you want them. Clearly, they're not really interested in themselves. They don't think they're very good themselves, and that's why they're chasing after guys who aren't really interested in them or passionate about them, because it mirrors their childhood trauma where they were neglected or abused by their parents. Because otherwise, if people have shared interests, and if you're interested in someone, you're infatuated with them, why wouldn't that person be interested in that? That's how you've got to see it. And of course, it's because it's something that they're chasing. Or they could just be completely desensitized from having too many guys messaging them. So it gets to a point, after being messaged by hundreds of men, it doesn't mean anything to them anymore. You're just another contact, another number. It's not important. And you want to stay away from those women as well, because you deserve to be valued, appreciated, respected. You do, especially if you put a lot of hard work into yourself. You deserve a woman who will recognize that in you, who's going to encourage you, not someone who's going to overlook it, minimize it. Those women are damaged women. But yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this isn't about all women, of course. And I do know, I am aware, many women on my channel who have been involved with narcissists, and they did everything for them. They made their entire life about them, served them, and it was never good enough. And, it's not all that these women are just attracted to bad boys. No, that's not it at all. What many people don't understand is that these narcissists present a completely different image at the beginning. And then these women get pulled in, wrapped up in an illusion, chasing after them, trying to change them. So they weren't looking for that at all at the beginning. This is it. Many of them were good women before they got involved with them. And then these men ruined them. So yeah, there are good women out there. It's just there's so many con artists, so many master manipulators. And it may be very difficult for you to compete with that. How are you meant to compete with an illusionist? Someone who knows the game. They know exactly what they need to do to manipulate, to deceive a woman. And you're just a genuine, authentic person. You can't compete with that. You don't know how to play the games like they do. You don't know how to manipulate. And maybe you don't want to. And of course, it's probably best if you don't. You just keep being you, and hopefully, naturally, you will attract someone who's similar to you. And, let them play their games, and you can't step in, you can't save these women. They're going to do what they're going to do, and there's nothing that you can really tell them. If they are falling for a manipulator, they have to go through it themselves. And that's just how it is. And many of us, we had to go through it ourselves too. And Yeah, it's sad. You know, especially when you think about this on a mass scale. Yes, there's millions, billions of women around the world every day who are constantly being manipulated, deceived, conned by predators, con artists everywhere. This is constantly going on. And that's really what can take away maybe the significance of it. You know, when you feel like you're losing something, missing out on something. When you imagine it on a grand scale, you imagine of how there is millions of women who are being conned by these types of people. When you realize that, it takes away the impact of it. And it's really the truth, you know, it's really what's going on, and you can see it. When you observe these women, you can see so many things that they have gone through. But yeah, the best thing to do really is to avoid them all. Just avoid them and just be natural about it. And, you know, you got to look back at the woman's family, her childhood, see how she's been raised, see what she's been through in her past. And that will tell you everything you need to know. And also when you get good at this, you know, when you learn more about it, you will soon see of how their behaviors really reveals their childhood programming. Everything that they're doing, it's something that was done to them. Or they can't find their way out of it. And so they end up doing it to you. They become anxious, avoidant. But honestly, you know, most of these women these days, they're really not what you think. And I can say that with experience. You know, as I mentioned, I've talked to quite literally over 100,000 women at this point, easily. And I've dated hundreds. I've dated hundreds just over the past couple of years. So, you know, I know women very well. And it's really not what you think. You know, even when you finally meet, you finally date that woman that you've been thinking about for such a long time. You've been fantasizing about what it would be like to be with her. And then when it finally gets to that point, you kind of have this realization where it's like, is this it? This is what I was so bothered about. This is what I really wanted. Because that's just it. It's all a fantasy and you give it power. All of these things that you see on social media, these women in their bikini pictures, and it's really all in your head. It's nothing like that in real life. If you were actually there in these scenes of wherever they are, it's nothing like that when you're actually there. And actually for you, because you want connection, you want love, it's going to be boring for you. And I've been there. I know exactly what it's like, you know, to be in that environment, to be with these girls like that, to be the guy who's taken those very pictures. I've done it myself so many times with beautiful women. And yeah, it's really not anything like you think. It really isn't. I've been on the other side of it with many different kinds of women from different parts of the world. And this is it, you know. No one's ever going to tell you that. No one's ever going to reveal these secrets about it. But this is the truth. It's nothing like what you think. That woman that you're dreaming about, she's nothing like who you think she is. And that's why this is the title of the video. Because I know it from experience. And I've been involved with these women. I've been involved with very beautiful women from a very young age. All different kinds of ethnicities. And it's always the same thing, you know, they're never what you think they're going to be. They're dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of issues. Many of them are just really quite boring people. They've got nothing going on, no real interest. It's all just about getting attention. And there's often a lack of connection there as well. So that's the truth, you know, it really isn't anything like how you think, you know, for those of you who may be inexperienced with women. Most of it, it's really just in your head. And what you're going to find is when you do meet super attractive women, this is the crazy thing about it. You're hoping that, you know, when you meet a good woman, she's beautiful, you have sex with her, you're thinking that finally it's going to be outside of your head and it's going to be in reality. Actually, no, it's still in your head. Even when you're going out on a date with them, even when you're sleeping with them, you're still just laying there in your own mind. You're still just thinking about it in your mind, and what you're really seeing in front of you isn't really doing it for you. It isn't really satisfying you. And yet you think, oh, maybe it's because, you know, that this woman was fake. She wasn't really that attractive. It could be another one. And then what's going to happen is if you get that woman, the same thing happens again. There's never going to be a time when you finally feel like you've got it. You feel like this is it. I'm out of my mind. I'm really present here now. I'm connected to this moment, this date. It's never going to happen. It's all a fantasy. And even psychologist Richard Grannon, he said it himself. Relationships are a fantasy. It's not based in reality. Everything that you're seeing online and social media, it is all fake. All of it. None of it is real. And so, no matter how good of a man you become, it's never going to be a reality. And, you know, you see the pictures that they're taking on social media. You know, one day you get that woman, and then you're there on the beach taking a picture of her. It's a very different experience then. It's not as exciting as you may have been led to believe. And in fact, it really doesn't get any better than you just being the viewer, the observer of it. That's as good as it gets. The best part of it is you really being excluded from it and watching it from afar. That's what stimulates and excites you more than anything. Is having the dream, the fantasy of it. Women know this. This is why they keep you at a distance. This is why they manipulate you, exclude you, make you believe that there's something that they never become that. Because they know that's what's going to drive you crazy. Because they know that if they get too close, if they reveal themselves, then all of that dies away. And it's true, it does. The best part about it is what you have now. That's as stimulating, as exciting as it gets, is your dreams, your fantasies of dating this kind of woman. And so you've already got it. And of course, it makes perfect sense in psychology, because once you finally attain a certain desire, you no longer desire it. You don't have that passion for it anymore. And so this is how you've got to see it. This is how you've got to understand it, because this is real. And this is why, when people get in relationships, and it doesn't matter how attractive the person is, it doesn't matter who they are, it all just dies down. It's not like they are having these exciting dates every day, having sex every day. No, they're not. It just fades away. It becomes normal to them. So it's really, what keeps you chasing, pursuing, is the fantasy in your mind. And that's really the most powerful, passionate part about it. And yet you lose that when you finally do date these women and get into relationships. And yet think about it, if you never got involved with them, you still would have had these ideal fantasies and they wouldn't have been ruined. So, yeah, it's just something to think about. And just recognize, that if you do meet the woman that you want, all of that goes away. The fantasies, the dreams, if it doesn't go away, there's going to be a complete lack of connection. You're going to be with these women on a date, in bed together, and you're still going to be in your head, not in reality with her, wishing that she was something else, something more. Wanting it to be a movie, wanted it to be like a scene. And that's just it. This is what it can do to you. But reality is not a movie. It is not a scene. It is raw, it is vulnerable, and it is flawed. But not reality is flawed, but we are flawed in reality. And that's just the reality of it. There is no perfect, flawless person. And yet it is that dream in our minds that's what can make us feel whole. So that's really what you want to hold on to, that's what can motivate you, inspire you, in your mind at least. But when it comes to reality, don't set your expectations so high, because you're always going to be disappointed. It's never going to be what you think it's going to be. And instead, just focus on trying to find that fulfillment in yourself. And this is what Buddhist monks do. They're more focused on finding inner peace, because they realize nothing outside of themselves is ever going to complete them. It's only ever going to be within, in their minds, in their imagination. And I can tell you, talking to over 100,000 women, dating hundreds, there's never been a time where it was like, this is it. This is the moment where I've finally achieved the fulfillment of a desire. I finally found this woman who is ideal. It just doesn't happen. It's never going to happen. It's never going to be a reality. And yeah, it's never going to be like that. And that's really what us as men have to accept. We have to accept that they are nothing like what they make us believe. They are nothing like what they display to us. And they're never going to be. Anyway, let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know what you think about this video. I see there's a lot of hate in the live chat. But what you got to be really careful as well, you know, when you work on yourself. Be very careful about these women idealizing you. You will know when they are, because they will try and destroy you, ruin you, mock you, ridicule you, discredit you. That's what they will do when they're idealizing you, because then it makes them feel flawed in comparison to you. And not only that, you know, many of you think, if I was just more attractive, if I just had more money, if I was just more successful. But I can tell you that wouldn't change anything. That wouldn't make anything better. That would make the treatment even worse. These women would be envious. They would be really just coming after you, trying to destroy you. That's what would happen. And, you know, just look at Will Smith, Johnny Depp, and so many other male Hollywood celebrities. This is what can happen. But yeah, you know, I've been with all kinds of women. I mean, all different kinds of attraction, all different heights, ages, ethnicities, everything. Girls that are shy, girls that are super confident, super charming, super seductive. I've been with all different kinds. And, you know, I've seen all the different possibilities of what they can be like. But I can tell you, you know, whatever happens, nothing in reality is ever going to compare to the pictures on social media when you're actually there. and also the fantasies that you can concoct in your mind. Nothing is ever going to be greater than that. There's never going to be experiences that are more thrilling, satisfying, more desirable. It's never going to happen. And I see people everywhere who are going through this and trying to attain the unattainable. You're never going to have it. It's never going to be yours or anyone else's. And it will only look that way to you. It will appear that way, like you've lost something that was ideal. In your mind, it's still just going to be in your mind. It's never going to happen in reality. And I can tell you, I have seen it all. I have seen it all. Aside from women, you know, I've seen like living in multi-million-pound homes, mansions. I've seen brand new cars, brand new Aston Martins, DB9, DB AMG Mercedes, everything. I myself have driven all sorts of cars around the world. I've traveled to so many countries, so many 5-star hotels, villas, everything. And when you're actually there, it is very different from what you see in the picture, the video. Even if you took it yourself and you look at it afterwards, it looks so much better then. So much more ideal, because it's a snapshot. It's a moment. And I can tell you, this is true. Most people will not admit this to you, but it's the truth. The dream that you're chasing after, once you finally attain it, I mean, you can't attain it, but let's just say once you attain it, it's no longer going to be that dream to you. And sometimes this can happen, you spend your entire life chasing after something, dreaming of something, fantasizing about what it could be like. And then it's right in front of your eyes and you can't even see it because it's no longer a dream anymore. This happens to so many people. But knock wood, I hope that doesn't happen to you. They're on a mad one up there, though. But yeah. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful for you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And hit the thumbs up. Let's get this video out there. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I go live again. If you would like one-on-one coaching with me, you can book by going to narcsurvivor.co.uk. Check out my Instagram, it's Narc Survivor YouTube, and our new Facebook group, it's Narc Survivor. So yeah, that's it for this one. But I hope it brought some awareness and clarity to you. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to speaking with you in another one very soon.